I just wanted to let everyone know I am recording this, so we will have this for future reference in case you wanted to go back. So if I haven't already introduced myself, my name is Marcella, and I am a procurement agent here with the Town of Davie. So I do a lot of contracts, do a lot of invoicing, kind of all over the place. So the departments come to me when they have questions in regards to contracts, making sure they follow Florida statutes and so forth. So I have created this presentation so we could go over. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me at any time. And would anyone like to say anything at this time before we begin?
Well, I know they can sign in, there's some other link in the chat.
Perfect. So everyone who has joined online, there is a sign in the chat. So please go ahead and do that. Just a few simple questions. Thank you so much. And of course, if you have a question online, feel free to type it in the chat. Eric here will let us know once your question comes in. So for the introduction, I want to point out on the right-hand side, I have listed all of the departments and divisions within the town. So there might be some cities that don't necessarily have as many departments as we do. But as you can see, we have about 16 departments, which are spread out between 3 procurement agents. So it's myself, Gary Rosenberg, and Carolina, who are my partners. We work fairly closely on helping these departments get things done. So the first thing on the introduction I would like to inform you is that obviously, if you don't know already, Davie is a historical Western themed town. So we're known as the Cowboy Town. And obviously we try to keep things in theme. So we do have over 35,000 square miles to parks, public areas, buildings, and so forth. 2 things I would like to point out is that the town has been awarded for the past 8 consecutive years an award of excellence in public procurement through the Florida Association of Public Procurement Officials, which is known as FAPO, if you guys are familiar. If not, I highly recommend to look into it because we definitely have pride with keeping this award going. It says right up there that I'm sharing my screen.
And they said it just cut out. I think there's a network issue. They can see it now. So.
You can see now, Laura?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, sorry about that. I know that we have the generator company outside, so hopefully they're not messing with the connections here. So the next section that I wanted to inform you guys is that we actually have received an award for an accreditation, which is for quality public procurement departments. And again, the reason why I'm pointing these 2 things out is for the fact that we have pride in our work, and we've received these accreditation and awards for our best practices and also for the way that we procure here in the town of Davie. So the last thing I would like to inform you is that for the last fiscal year of 2024, the Town of Davie Procurement Division actually created 497 service and good contracts for our community. So this goes from as simple as Band-Aids all the way to buildings. So we definitely help the departments get everything that they need. Hello, welcome. So at this time, does anyone have any questions before we proceed? This is just the introduction. Great. So I wanted to point out the main topics that we are going to be discussing, which would be the solicitation thresholds and differences, Town of Davie procurement homepage, where you can find all of our good information, OpenGov, which is our electronic bidding platform, our active solicitations, future solicitation opportunities, insurance and additional requirements, vendor registration, which a lot of people always ask, how do we register with the town? Maintaining your contract, and something that I wanted to add in here for you guys was common mistakes. So I'm glad you guys are here today. I want to help you succeed and give you the opportunity to do business with the town by specifically showing you what our common mistakes are. So the first thing that we are going to go through is solicitation thresholds and differences. So there are 3 different levels here. Sorry. So there are 3 different levels. And it actually is, what makes them different is the threshold amount. So on the left-hand side, you could see this is from $0 up to $5,000. So this means that up to $5,000, the department has the ability to contact the vendor and get a quote for whatever it is that they need. The thing is that our code, which is kind of like our rules that we go by, says that the departments actually have a minimum of 3 attempts to different vendors to request a quote. So that means that they could send out 3 emails to a construction company and say, hey, I need to get this door fixed. And if whoever's pretty much the fastest one to really respond, because obviously they need to get that door fixed right away, you know, the department can move forward with that responsive and responsible vendor. So again, that's for the first layer here, which is up to $5,000. So the next would be our informal threshold. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with these terms, but I did add abbreviations there and what they mean. So the next one would be for purchases between $5,000 and a penny up to $35,000. So this would be considered an informal threshold. These are, I do a lot of these types of solicitations, and the most that I do is invitation to quote. So pretty much the departments give me some scope information, what they need, and if it's up to $35,000, we can proceed with that informal threshold. The difference really between the informal and the formal is the approvals. So the informal is usually a fairly quick process for the fact that it doesn't need that many approvals. It still has a sealed bid process as well as the formal solicitations. So just to kind of make that clear. And does anyone have any questions at this time in regards to informal thresholds? Yes?
So for the informal threshold, when you guys have a solicitation, and you guys have already like a pool of contractors that you guys previously selected in order to reach out to them, or it's open to everybody? How you guys just need one quote? How you guys contact the contractors or the vendors?
So to get more into detail, the town does do these type of an informal or a formal bid, depending on the type of project it is. So it could be a one-time thing, like we need someone to build us, build the roof for the pavilion outside, or it could be a reoccurring service such as landscaping. But there are such things, or there is a contract called a pool contract. So some of the pool contracts that I currently deal with Public Works is we have a general contractors pool contract. So what that is that it actually went out as, I believe, as an RFP or an RFQ. I don't recall exactly, but we pretty much put out information like, hey, we're looking for contractors that are able to do a list of things. So we actually received about like 7 or 8 responses, and the department decided, you know, let's award all of these vendors. So they have a contract, which is now considered a pool contract. So they have more than one vendor on there, and how the department and other departments, because just because Public Works kind of initiated it, doesn't mean that the fire department can't use it. So again, talking about this general contractor's pool contract, we actually have all of the vendors listed on a spreadsheet, and there's a rotation list. So the first vendor, if we call them, hey, we need this door replaced, you know, if they're non-responsive, we move to the next one on the list. That's just how it goes. And then, again, as I mentioned, it's a rotation list to give everyone a fair chance to obviously be active on the contract. So we definitely keep track of who we contact, especially if they are non-responsive as well. So as I mentioned, anyone in the town could utilize that pool contract. So we even have a general contractor's pool contract for the fire department because they decided to initiate their own, and they actually awarded more vendors compared to the public works general contractors pool contract. So
Thank you.
that could go for many other things. I can't recall right now off the top of my head what's another pool contract that we have, but for sure it is a general contractors one. So the next threshold that I will be discussing is the formal threshold. So as you can see, these are purchases that are over 35,000 and penny. So the only difference with this is that it has additional approvals. So there is a PAF, which is a procurement authorization form that has to be approved by administration before we even publish it. And then even after the fact, administration has to sign off on the award recommendation and so forth. But aside from the threshold amount and the approval levels that it goes through, they're fairly the same. They both are sealed bid processes. And we do go by the Florida statute. As you can see, I did include those specific numbers there. Does anyone have any questions before we proceed? So one more thing I wanted to inform you is that for formal thresholds, they could go up to, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but if they go up to 65,000, it has to go to council to get approved. So like I mentioned, you know, the approvals are a little different between formal and informal. Ideally, a informal bid is usually much quicker, like the turnaround time is much quicker for the fact that it's less approvals. But again, they are both sealed bids. They go through the competitive bid process on OpenGov, which I will discuss further in the presentation. Any other questions or any questions at this time? Yes? Yeah, of course.
With the picking process, if there's, I can identify that, identify solicitation threshold that it belongs to all that information.
So that's why I included the abbreviations. As you can see in the middle column, it says ITQ, this is invitation to quote, and then RFP, request for proposal, and so forth. And also on the bids itself, either, well, typically, depending if it's a formal bid, the department will inform myself and the other agents, hey, you know, our estimated budget for this is $50,000. So we do include that in the summary of the solicitation. So you see, you know, ideally that's our estimate. But then again, if you see an informal, like you see there, 35,000 is the cap, but that will also be referenced on there as well. There has been some situations where, you know, we put in a solicitation for like a roof replacement at a pavilion. They thought it was going to be under 35, ended up being like double. So we kind of had to cancel it and do it over again as a formal. So just to give you some insight on that. Any other questions? Yes?
Kimberly said, well, Tommy said if you want to mind repeating the questions asked, and maybe that's a question. If you are looking for temporary personnel staffing, what level would that be?
So just to kind of go back, the question that the vendor had here was how would you guys know what type of bid it is? So that's why I kind of included the abbreviations here on the screen. And as I mentioned, the estimate will also be listed in the summary of the bid. And what was the question again, Eric? I'm sorry.
If you're looking for temporary personnel staffing, what level would that be?
So in regards to wondering what level would personal staffing be? It depends on the department, you know, if it's just a one-time thing or if it's a reoccurring thing, because I'll help them determine, you know, what's their budget here. So if it's a reoccurring project, they might have to do it as a formal bid. If it's a one and done, that's really small, then they'll probably do it as an informal. But in regards to knowing what we might need, I'll discuss that further down in the presentation. We publish bids and what to look for when it comes to some of our contracts that are ending. So I'll kind of get back to you on that. We're good? Okay, good. So I actually created this video for you guys to show you how easy it is to go to our procurement page. So what I did was I went on the tab. Okay. What was the question?
Question for later section on solicitations, did you or have you considered using Florida State term contracts? For example, the management consulting services STC.
With what, I'm sorry?
For example, the management consulting services STC with DMS.
Okay, so that sounds like it's more of a non-competitive contract. Because we'll kind of discuss that a little further, because there are some contracts that we will publicly solicit, but there are some contracts that are non-competitive, depending on the service it is, and that sounds like it's more of like an HR administrative kind of project. So we'll get back to that.
That is stopping.
So again, I was kind of giving you guys the guide here on how to go to our procurement page, which is fairly simple and it's really resourceful. And the pamphlets that I provided for you in the back is actually a QR code that'll take you directly here, actually specifically to our supplier central. So a few things that I want to kind of point out for you, which will benefit you and your company, is what we have here listed on the left-hand side. So it is a little small, sorry about that, but I will read it for you. So the second listed item there, it says Town of Davie. Oh, sorry, let me see. Town of Davie OpenGov bids and RFPs. Is anyone familiar with what OpenGov is? Okay, so in case if you're not familiar with what it is our platform that we use to solicit bids. Are you familiar with DemandStar? Okay, so it's kind of similar to DemandStar, but a little more upgraded. So we were previously posting our solicitations on DemandStar and our town websites, but there were a lot of issues that we've come across that we see that there's a better benefit to use OpenGov. So one of the benefits is the fact that OpenGov actually does like an auto population. So when it comes to the bid form, it will auto-calculate the quantities times the unit price. So it kind of helps us out avoid calculation errors, which is something that we've come across many times. So there's been times where there's calculation errors and you could be disqualified. You have to reach out to the vendor. Maybe they put $20 and then they put $200, you know, so that's one of the benefits as to why we switched over to OpenGov. And also, if you're not aware, but DemandStar, vendors have to pay for it for a membership. OpenGov is actually free to vendors. So that's another benefit for you. We're the ones who actually pay for the platform because, you know, there's a lot of behind the scenes functions that we could use, including like what I just mentioned and it's a way for us to collaborate with the project managers within the system rather than sending a whole bunch of emails. And we'll get more into detail as we proceed. So the third one here that I wanted to point out was contracts / solicitations prior to June 2024. So as of June 2024, that's when we transitioned from posting Demand Star on our town website over to OpenGov. So even though we have transitioned, all of our contracts are still available there for you to view. And that actually is a benefit, or more of an advantage for you, which I will get more into as we proceed. And also how to register for solicitation notification, which would be with OpenGov, Supplier Central, and so forth. So as we were briefly speaking about OpenGov, if you actually click in here, it'll give you the step-by-step instructions on how to register, how to subscribe, and manage your accounts. So once you create your free account, you can actually subscribe to the town and you'll be able to receive notifications whenever we publish something, including addendums. So that's another benefit on why we moved over to OpenGov, because on Demand Star, for example, we would publish the addendum as like a PDF document. The vendor would have to sign it, re-upload it, and maybe they forgot to upload it. Maybe they uploaded the wrong document. So another benefit with OpenGov is the fact that you can't even submit your bid until you've acknowledged the addendums. So it's kind of like a win-win for the both of us. Any questions at this time in regards to the steps? I will go into more detail as to how to register in OpenGov. But again, this is easy access for you. So go in there and create your free account. No questions? Yes?
When we register as a vendor, automatically we will receive the courtesy email for the solicitation that match with our commodities.
We'll get into that shortly. Any other questions at this time? Okay, great. So I created my own account here in OpenGov to show you guys how simple and easy it is to create an account. So I'm not sure if it's gonna play. Oh no, sorry, this is not a video. So you'll just go ahead and put your company email address and you'll get the email on activating your account. So obviously it's a secure platform, as you can see. Once you go ahead and create your account, it'll ask you basic information about yourself and your company. So one of the key things I want to inform you is it might not be best to put your personal email address or have your admin create the account for you, because what if they're not in that day? What if they, are no longer with the company and then you don't have access? So definitely recommend to use a general email address. So in that way, it's accessible for all your project managers or, somebody else who later comes onto your boarding. So after you go ahead and create all this simple, or provide all this simple information to create your account, I will go more into this visual example on activating your account. So one of the great things that we love so much about OpenGov is that it's so simple to use. So there are, as you can see, step-by-step guidance on what every function is. And aside from that, on the bottom right-hand side, there is like a blue bubble, and you can actually ask questions, and they're very responsive. So if any type of question that you might have, just put it in there, and they'll get back to you right away. And worst case scenario, they'll send you an email. So as you can see here, I created my free account. Definitely recommended to put some time and effort into this. So put your logo, put go ahead and add anything to make it personal to you. So as you can see, I added a logo for my company, and I added my company address, languages, why not? Just fill out everything. The more information, the better. One of the questions that was recently asked was in regards to category codes. I kind of went through that, or scrolled through that a little quickly, but as you're creating your account, it's asking you commodity codes. If you're not familiar with what commodity codes exactly is, that's pretty much any type of, they're digits. So it's digits and it has like a description. So it's anything that's related to your company. So for example, if you do construction, maybe you want to add commodity codes for repairs, for new construction, for demolition. You can search up keywords in there that relate to your business. And the whole point of commodity codes is that when people, for example, like myself, when I am entering in a solicitation and I'm putting in all the information, getting ready to submit it, I include commodity codes because I wanted to broadcast to those specific people that have similar background. But then again, just to kind of help you think outside the box. I know, Stephen, you said that your type of company provides like screws and provide cleaning products and a whole bunch of things that people might really take into consideration, and you might be a little stuck when it comes to commodity codes because you're like, man, maybe there's not a commodity code for screws.
Right.
But again, think outside the box here. Let's think of power tools. Let's think of maybe when there's a new construction, because when there's a new construction, they got to clean up. So it's like, you want to know who gets awarded that bid. You want to be notified. You can contact that awarded vendor and be like, hey, Joe, I've seen you awarded this contract to do this building, and I think you might need these cleaning products. Let me know, when you come to that point, and I can provide you with cleaning products. Or also for yourself, like you said, you had the power washing company. That could be a similar scenario. Follow other commodity codes outside of where, just don't think small in the box, think outside. So for pressure washing, again, if we're doing new construction, if we are doing demolition, if we're doing sidewalks, follow those type of commodity codes, which will help you be notified that, hey, we're putting out a bid for sidewalks. Maybe I could contact whoever gets awarded, maybe they need to clean it after. So I hope that kind of helps you think outside the box here. Is there you guys want to give me another example here that I could possibly use? I know, Ed, you provide like office supplies. So again, sure. So for example, right now, we are in the process of building our town hall. We're going to need furniture. So don't keep yourself minimized to only office supplies in your commodity codes, okay? Get commodity codes for new construction as well, because again, you could contact that general contractor. Hey, I know you're building the town hall. Do you already have someone for your furniture? If not, you know what? Here's my price list. So again, think outside the box when it comes to commodity codes, and even for yourself, how you do the air conditioning, new construction. Think of demolition. There's so many other commodity codes. So that's why I'm saying when you're creating your open book account, take time to really, put the effort to building your company, because think of this as like your Facebook page. We can see this information. The other agencies can see this, and they're going to probably look at what you could offer. Okay. And as I mentioned, we will, when we're at the time of publishing our bid, we look for those common commodity codes. So you'll be notified whenever that bid is published, and you can follow the contract, see when that vendor gets awarded, contact the vendor, and so forth. Any questions at this time? Does that help you guys expand your mindset a little bit? Yeah, no? Yes?
Alexa, the thing I thought with the NICE is the national, the North America classification of the industry in order for the government to contract. And one of the things, for example, they had like a main number. Mine is 236,900. And under that one, there is many. For example, I do pressure cleaning. But under that one, I can provide pressure cleaning machines, I can provide pressure cleaning parts, I can provide pressure cleaning training, I can provide, so like you just mentioned it, there are many opportunities when we are opening up to put all the codes that are applied to what is our expertise. And another, probably, and something that I do, and additional is to have a partnership. So my partner do IT, so all the IT codes, I put it also there. And every time that you guys posted anything, it match my commodities, and it come out of the solicitation that the emails that we receive.
Yeah, of course. And the thing that I've noticed, because I've actually published a power washing bid recently, and I'm in the works of doing one now, there is no specific commodity code for pressure washing.
Yeah.
So this might come with you guys as well. You know, there might not be a commodity code that fits your company exactly, but again, think outside the box, okay? Any additional questions at this time? We're good, Eric? So right over here, I'm actually editing my profile. So again, I have my commodity codes here, and there's a tab here for you to add your certifications and additional documents. As I mentioned, these agencies are checking this information. So if your company has licenses, add it in there. If you guys have certificates, add it in there. If you guys have your certificate of insurance, add it in there. You know, the more information you put, the better, because we want to make sure that you're legit too. We want to make sure you have the insurance requirements. So keep that in mind and definitely take the time here again, as I mentioned. So the next section here that I wanted to go over is, we're still here on the OpenGov part. In case you didn't want to log into your account and, you know, see what was going on, we actually have a live feed here where you can see all of our open solicitations. So you don't necessarily have to log into OpenGov. You could go on our town website and you can see what we have open at this time, when is the due date, and you could go ahead and filter here by specific departments and also by the status. So here I'm showing you what our kind of profile looks like here in OpenGov. Again, it's definitely recommended to subscribe to the town, and that way you'll be notified when we publish something. You can actually edit the notifications here as to your preference. And just to also inform you, we are not the only ones using OpenGov. There are other agencies that are using OpenGov. And what's actually very interesting is this account that I made for Joe's company, I got an email the other day that the city of Fort Lauderdale added me to their vendor list. So they've seen that I was following the town, interested in doing business on the town. They added me to their vendor list, you know, which is awesome. So keep that in mind, even if you don't plan on using OpenGov in the near future, keep it on there, because there are other agencies looking for vendors to do work for them. Is there any questions? Yes, Eric?
Yes, Cindy asked, is staffing companies?
For staffing companies, I believe that's more of a non-competitive kind of avenue. And for that, I might recommend to contact our HR department directly. I could probably get more information on that. It was Stephanie, right? Eric? It was Stephanie who asked the question?
It was Cindy.
Cindy, sorry. So Cindy, if you want, add your email in the chat, or you can email me directly, and I will try to get that info for you, because I believe that'd be considered a non-competitive. But again, I will get that answered for you. There was another question, Eric?
Yeah, there's one for Bronte. Very lengthy question, so maybe something that we need to forward to the IT department,
Okay.
or, yeah.
Yes, would your IT team be open to evaluating whether single-use modular architecture can integrate with the existing stack? Contract evaluation and vendor onboarding under the $1,000 procurement budget, $100,000.
So when it comes to vendor onboarding, we will actually kind of touch that a little bit down the presentation here, but we kind of do the vendor onboarding hand in hand with OpenGov. So we don't necessarily just invite everyone to come be in our system and be, in our, in our system exactly. So when it comes to vendor onboarding, actually our procurement specialist Laura helps us out with that. That's one of the final steps with, awarding a bid. But you could definitely go ahead and reach out to our IT department. There might be something else you could help out with. I don't necessarily have that department, and I know IT could be a little technical. So if you want, you could email myself or our procurement email, procurement@davie-fl.gov, and we could forward that to the correct person and hopefully get that answer for you. We're good to go?
We have
Yeah.
one question.
Yes.
Louise said, do you accept or allow joint ventures?
Joint, what, I'm sorry?
Joint ventures.
I'm not exactly sure what joint ventures are. But again, Luis, if you send that email to us, I'll be able to get that answer for you. Anything else, Eric? Okay, so anyone else have any questions until we proceed here? No? Okay. So I'm kind of showing you our portal here. This is what the OpenGov bid looks like. So it'll let you know that when we publish it, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, all of our bids are sealed. And aside from following the town on OpenGov, you can actually follow this project. So kind of like the examples I provided earlier about thinking outside the box, maybe finding a construction company and offer them the general contractor services for something after the fact. It says it stopped sharing, Eric. Okay, just 1 second. Are we good? I think we're good now. Okay.
Yeah, I'm likely just a little bit.
Sorry for the technical issues here. Maybe we do need that IT company to come over here and help us out. So, let me know, Eric or Laura, are we good to go? Well, maybe it's lagging a little bit, but I will just continue speaking on the fact that I was giving the example on what OpenGov looks like, on how to follow the town, how to follow the specific project. So in that way, you'll be notified of any type of notices. So that includes if there's any addendums, if the contract was extended, if the bid was extended, and also any additional notices such as the bid opening report and the award. Any questions so far? And also, I just wanted to kind of point out, you will see all the different tabs here. So you'll have like the overview with the basic information. And we do, I'm sorry?
We still don't see the presentation.
No, it says it's sharing. Let's see. I'm sorry?
We don't see the camera.
Okay, let's see. Let me turn it off. Let me turn it on again. Are we good? If anyone in the chat could let us know if they can
No, we're
see
not
us
seeing
okay,
anything.
we're not sure if it's the Wi-Fi here. I'm sorry?
No, we're not seeing the presentation for a little while.
Okay, sorry
No
about
worries.
that. As I mentioned, we have the generator company outside. I'm not sure what they're doing out there, but let me share my screen again.
Just spending
Okay, could you guys let me know online if you can
Yeah,
see it now?
nothing just yet, dear.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Can you see me? Just kidding.
Oh, yeah, I can.
We can't, yeah, we can't see anything just yet.
Okay, let me try to connect here to my phone. As I mentioned, we have some people on site here that they are probably messing with the connections.
We're supposed to be seeing something, but it's all black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Network issues on our end.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I could put a hotspot on my phone if it's the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again. Hey, Kevin. We're having some connection issues here. I'm sorry?
That's my problem.
Ah, okay. Perfect. Gonna try this again, everyone online.
We're seeing the screen.
You're good now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Sorry about that. Okay, so you guys can see my screen now? We're good?
We can see the screen now, yeah.
All right, we're good? Awesome. Sorry about that. So I was kind of discussing on navigating through this specific project. I know that we had a vendor asking what's the threshold. So right here in the overview, we will actually specify the threshold here. So even though you might not be familiar with the abbreviations, which over here it starts with I2B, which was invitation to bid. Again, look at the overview and you'll be able to see what the estimate was on that. And just to give you guys a little insight, what this number is that was generated, this contract number. So CW is the person who created the contract, which is, in this case, Carolina Wilhite. She is one of our other procurement agents. The next set of digits is the year it was created, and then the sequence number. So this is the 11th bid that we've done this physical year. So one of the things I also want to point out are the different tabs here. So as you can see, we have the project documents, we have downloads, which you can download the whole bid itself, which is definitely recommended because in case you want to look for specific key terms, you can do control find, look through there. You'll also be able to see our addendums, and you could definitely ask some questions. So don't hesitate to ask any questions. I know I had a vendor recently who felt a little nervous about submitting a question because she didn't want her company name to be out there. So when we submit we receive the questions with your company name, but when we actually publish it, we don't necessarily clarify who was the one asking the questions. We just, post the question, post the answer, so everyone gets a fair response, and that is available there. Any questions in regards to this page here? Okay, great. So one of the other sections on the procurement homepage that I love to point out, this is to your advantage, so definitely pay attention here. As I mentioned earlier, that we recently switched over to OpenGov, but we still have our old solicitations published on our town website. So let's say that you do lawn maintenance and you're curious as to if we had or currently have any lawn maintenance contracts. This is a super, super long list, but do Control F, search up keywords here. Like for example, here I'm showing roofing, and you could actually see our contracts that, they could possibly already have expired or they're currently in place. And you can see the year. So as I was explaining to you earlier, The first set is ITQ, which is our abbreviation for invitation to quote, JA, which was Jenna, and the year was 2023. So you can see how old the contract was. The reason why I'm showing you this page is because maybe you want to figure out when our current contract ends. And maybe who is the vendor we're doing business with. So if you actually click in any of these, and again, all of the bid information is available to the public. We post everything on here. You'll be able to see the bid information, including when it was published, when it was closed, and also right down below, you can see all of our documents, which include the bid opening report, who was awarded, and the tabulation, and you can actually see the vendor's responses. So in this specific bid, you can see Dan Enterprise and RJ Spencer Construction responded to this bid. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because, let's say we have a new lawn maintenance contract or a new roofing contract currently on OpenGov, and you're not sure if you're bidding too high or if you're bidding too low. Why don't you go on here, figure out what they bid last time? You know, so that way you have an idea. Also, you could compare the bid form. Maybe they're asking for more, maybe they're asking for less. So definitely take advantage of this information here, because as the years proceed, obviously you would expect the prices to go up. So this was in 2023, you know, so for this project, they, aside from the fact that they provide the estimate already, it's definitely best to look at all of the resources. Is there any questions at this time before we proceed? Yes?
Marcella, could you show us how to get to that page again? Somebody can share what's that other tab?
Yes, so in the brochure that I gave you guys, in the back, there's a QR code for the Supplier Central, but it'll actually take you to like a procurement homepage. So the first tab was like procurement homepage, then it was current bids on OpenGov, and this was the third one,
Okay.
which says solicitations prior to June 2024.
Gotcha.
So again, this is on there because these are all the contracts that were prior to when we moved to OpenGov. It's kind of the same scenario with OpenGov though. You'll still be able to see all of our contracts that we've done after June of 2024. So again, all that information is available for you. It's open to the public. Take your time, do your research, okay? Any questions at this time? Any additional questions? We're good, Eric?
Yes.
All right, great. So as I was kind of touching base on already with OpenGov and creating your profile, you definitely want to have what we call your toolkit. So these are some things that myself as a procurement agent look for. So that's why I'm kind of putting this out there for you. So make sure that you kind of, you know, have your little checklist. We definitely need the vendors to be active on Sundays. Make sure you're active. You know, there might be times it might slip your mind that you have to be registered or something. Make sure you're active. Go ahead and create your OpenGov account. Make sure all your information is up to date. There could be a situation where you probably relocated to a different city. Make sure that's up to date because we do have a local vendor preference as well, which we will touch on a little bit down the line, and that will be for Davie companies and also for Broward County companies. So again, make sure everything's up to date. The next thing in your toolkit is know your competition, which is why I brought you in the last slide on how you could see who might potentially be your competition. Check out what they did, check out what they offer. Because again, you never know if they're gonna bid on it again. So the next thing would be your client references. Make sure those people are still at that facility. You put John from Kmart, make sure John from Kmart is still there and he can still, you know, obviously provide that reference. And something that I've come across fairly often when it comes to references is that some companies are not providing references that are similar to the project that we're looking for. So if you're putting in a bid for, or the contract is for roofing, don't I mean, what if necessarily don't, but it might not be best to add a reference for carpeting or for pressure washing. So try to provide a specific reference that's similar to that job. Because, you know, obviously you want to make sure that you have that experience with that specific bid that we're publishing. The next thing is certificate of insurance. So obviously you need insurance. Your company needs insurance. The thing is, in our bids, we specify what the thresholds are, like what are the requirements for us. And we kind of go into detail on how the certificate of insurance should look, such as, you know, including the town as a, what's that word, Laura? Including the town as additionally insured on your insurance. So there's a lot of things, but then again, you don't have to stress about it so much in the beginning because we'll kind of guide you through that if you are awarded a bid. Again, we'll kind of go through that in the next slide. So again, your company overview documents, including but not limited to, we need your W-9 form, your company contacts, your mission statement, your equipment list. I know that a few of you guys mentioned that you offer a wide variety of equipment. So definitely make sure you have that up to date. It's always recommended to even include it on your OpenGov documents, because in that way the other agencies can know what you offer. Maybe your company just says John Enterprise, but we don't know what that really is, you know, like it could be so many things. So make sure you have an equipment list. If you don't already, put time into that, add photos, include dimensions and so forth. Work history, which is similar, kind of more or less like a client references, but you definitely want to make sure that, you know, you have that information available. Something that we've kind of come across that's been helpful is that some vendors even provide the resumes of their key staff. So like if you're an architect, that's awesome that you provide your resumes of your architect people because we know they're legit. You know, we know you didn't hire Henry off the corner. And also subcontractors. So if you're a general contractor, it's good to provide the information on who you work with as a subcontractor, or even if you're a vendor that is kind of a hub, but you purchase all of your stuff from smaller companies. But provide that information as well because it could be a benefit for you. And as I mentioned earlier, provide licenses and certificates. Is there any additional questions for the toolkits? Yes.
What about bonding? Is the city of Davie?
Bonds?
Mhm.
Yes, so specific bids will require bonds. So based off my experience here, I've been here a little over 2 years now. Bonds are usually required for like more construction. So Rebecca Severe, she's actually our procurement coordinator. She handles the larger projects that includes bonds. So if there is a bond that is required, it will definitely be stated on there that a bond is required. And also, it will inform you that I believe, I forgot what it's called, but I know it's a 2-step thing. We need something beforehand, and if you get awarded, we need,
The first one is like a offer letter and the.
exactly, so it's a 2-step thing, exactly, the sealed bond. So again, if there is a bond related, I'll definitely be added in there, but again, if you're unsure, submit a question and open up about that bid. Any other questions at this time? So the next thing that I wanted to show you guys is our Supplier Central, which is everything that I'm showing you is our procurement homepage. So this again is an advantage to you. Right here on the right-hand side, you'll see our vendor requirements guide, which include like the insurance or certificate, and also frequently asked questions. So definitely take the time to kind of navigate through this and educate yourself. And also, this recording will be available on our town website. Here in the Supplier Central, there's a little plus button. If you click there, it will show you all of our past recordings. So in case you have to leave early or you came late, whatever it is, you can go back and watch our old videos. And we will also publish when our next procurement training will be available. Something that I'm working on now with the procurement manager is providing a training for after the fact, after you've been awarded a contract, how to maintain it, and so forth. Any questions at this time?
So far, I haven't seen the that you mentioned the bond. But I guess it's just on a case by case matter, right?
Correct. So I did mention that bonds are usually for larger construction projects. And if a bond is required, it will definitely be specified in the bid itself. And it will be a required document that has to be uploaded. But again, if you're
Yeah.
unsure, you
Yeah,
could
yeah.
always ask that question within the bid itself.
Yeah, got it.
But
Thank
if, again, if a bond is required, you don't submit the bond, you're probably disqualified. So keep that in mind. Definitely take the time to look at these bids, make sure you submit everything. Any other questions? So vendor registration. We have a lot of vendors that come up to us and they ask, how can I register to be a vendor for the town? I know that some agencies, I'm not exactly sure what their process is, but they might have a form you fill out. They might have a link that you click, you submit your information, and you're registered with their city. That's not really how we work. How we work is in order to be registered with the town of Davie, you actually have to have a contractor already do some type of work. So we don't necessarily like bombard our system with a whole bunch of vendor information, which is why, again, how I inform you, follow the town OpenGov, have all the information there, because that is a resource that the project manager use to find you, okay? So we do use this platform called PaymentWorks for our vendor registration. As I mentioned, we don't have paper forms. Previously, we actually had a few documents that were required to be completed by the vendor, which was considered our vendor registration, but it wasn't exactly, the best route to go. So we now use this platform, PaymentWorks. So if you get awarded a bid, if the department decides, hey, we want to move forward with this vendor, myself or the procurement person will send you the award recommendation, say, hey, you're being recommended for award. This is the award recommendation. These are the next steps. I'll send you an invite to PaymentWorks. You complete your vendor registration in there, and the process just keeps going from there until you get finally awarded. One of the benefits about PaymentWorks is it does offer ACH payments. So once we get that invoice in our system, rather than waiting for the check to come in the mail, you guys will be paid directly to your account that you provide. And this is a secure system, so it does verify your banking information, and it also verifies what, Laura?
Corporate
Your address.
everything has to match, your remittance address has to match. Only you can log in and make changes, so it's very secure. They can just call up and say, oh, by the way, I'm changing my remittance address. It has to be done through your account, and only you can do it. Only you can upload your own documents to it. We cannot upload anything on your behalf. So your side of the account is completely your side of the account. No one else has access to it. So it is a really secure way to monitor and maintain our relationship.
So kind of how yes?
No, that's for this particular platform.
Yes. Yeah, once you receive the award recommendation, I'll give you the next steps, like, hey, this is the award recommendation, give me your certificate of insurance, give me, if there's anything else missing or any additional documents required, and then I'll specifically send you an invite. So it's not like you just go in here and create an account, no, that's not how it works. I send you a direct invite from the town of Davie on how to create, your vendor registration. And how Laura stated, you'll be able to log in there, it's very secure. So again, kind of how I referenced with the OpenGov, don't use your Yahoo email that you can get locked out of, or don't use Sally, who's just an admin, you don't know how long she's going to be. Use a general, reliable email that you could go back into and obviously make any updates if necessary. And one of the great things about PaymentWorks is you actually have to update or upload your certificate of insurance. So it also asks you to include the expiration date, and once your expiration date is approaching, it'll notify you, hey, upload your new certificate of insurance, which definitely is required. We're doing business with the town. And Laura is actually our procurement specialist that reviews all of our vendor registrations. And just like OpenGov, PaymentWorks, they're very responsive in case you have any questions or locked out. But again, you can always reach out to Laura. She'll be more than glad on helping you with whatever issues you may have. Yes,
Are any fees involved in order to?
there's no fees, no fees at all. You just make your account in there, and I believe you can view your invoices, right, Laura?
Yes.
Okay, so you'll be able to see like what invoice has been paid and so forth. Any additional questions in regards to our vendor registration? Yes?
If I have like multiple people in admin, some finance, do they all make separate accounts or it all went to one?
It's definitely best not to have multiple accounts, because it's like, how do you keep track of it? And plus, it's gonna kind of be a red flag. Because like we were saying, this is a very secure platform. They're gonna see multiple accounts, it's gonna be a red flag, they're gonna lock you out. It's probably gonna be a whole mission. So that's why I said, try to use a general email, maybe even your email, like as a manager, whatever it may be. But again, the fact that it has ability to change your ACH and everything, you might not want to give that access to just everyone.
Makes sense.
Yes. Any additional questions about our vendor registration? So just to show you, I know you're asking about the invites. This is what the email will look like. It says, hey, you know, the Town of Davie invited you to complete the vendor registration. Again, this is a direct invite directly from myself or the project manager to go ahead and create your account and be officially connected with the town. So if you don't complete this process, there's no way for you to be in our system. There's no way we can proceed. That's it. It's like a brick wall. The only time that there would be any go around is if you're like a special event vendor, which Laura comes across more particularly with the Parks Department, because some vendors like bounce house companies, they might not have the full, what is it, 100,000 insurance, yeah, million insurance requirement. So obviously it's kind of like a case by case, but majority of the time, every vendor does have to go through PaymentWorks. Any questions at this time? Great. So one thing that I love to share with you is our common mistakes. I'm sharing this with you because obviously I want you guys to successfully do business with the town. And based off my experience here, and not even myself, Laura, these are the brick walls we hit all the time with these vendors. Thing is, you have to keep in mind, you're holding yourself back. You're holding yourself back when you don't take the time to do things correctly and you just don't put in the effort, okay? This is not necessarily just for anything specific. This is also with your profile in OpenGov, with your submissions. Take the time. There has been a situation where I received a bid in OpenGov and they put like City of Davie, you know? So it's like kind of petty, but it's just little things that obviously we point out, we see. We've also, or myself, have come across a situation where it looks like a vendor had submitted to another agency and then submitted the same documents to us, but didn't update the documents. It said like City of Sunrise, you know, so definitely take the time. One of the main things that is a major issue with certificate of insurance, you know, it's just minor details that we request to be included. And again, if you are awarded or if you are in the award recommendation phase, take the time to provide you a visual example, just like the one you see here, on what is required. And Laura definitely does take the time to help you out as well. If you submit something in PaymentWorks and there's an issue, because at the end of the day, we want to help you get connected. We want to help you start the process because there's steps to this. So it's like if you don't get in PaymentWorks, you can't be in the system, you can't get a purchase order, you can't start work. So everything is like has to be done usually in a timely manner, especially if it's like a roof replacement. We need you connected ASAP. We need you in there ASAP.
Right, and for contract purposes, Jenna won't accept a COI without it being correct either.
No, we can't move forward because it's obviously a liability. So another thing here, aside from insurance, is last minute bid submissions. So it's not like back in the days, you could just call us and tell us, hey, I'm on the way. On 585, wait for me, you know, I'm going 5 minutes late, but I have my papers. Like, it does not work like that, okay? In OpenGov, it does show you when the bid was published, when the Q&A ends, and when the actual bid is closed. So once it's closed, it's closed. That's it. You can't email us, you can't call, you can't come up. I mean, you can, but there's nothing we can do. That's it. So make sure you are aware of these dates. Add it to your calendar, whatever it is you need to do. So like I was kind of giving you the example earlier in regards to your bid response. So make sure you verify all the information. And one of the things that some people kind of don't take seriously are the pre-bids. Some projects require mandatory pre-bid meetings. Make sure you verify, because some are non-mandatory, but some are mandatory. If you are not at the pre-bid, which requires you to sign in, you can't bid. You can bid. Oh, we're gonna obviously reference back the pre-bid. Notice you weren't at the pre-bid, so you wasted your time submitting a bid. At the end of the day, we're not going to accept or even look at your response for the fact it was a mandatory pre-bid and you did not show up. Okay, so also with the pre-bids, some of them might have site visits. You want to make sure that you go to every single site visit because we do sign off on a document. I recently had a bid where the gentleman showed up for the meeting here, didn't go to the site visit. Cut. That's it. That's just how it works. You cannot bid successfully if you have not been to the meeting and if you have not been to the site visits if it was required. Also, as I mentioned, with Payment Works, there is a bank verification. So one of the things with the bank verification is Payment Works themselves actually contact you to verify your information. So that's why it's important to have your cell phone number, make sure it's someone reliable. That's why it's probably not best to add like an admin on there, especially if they're like a part-time or not necessarily, you know, as responsible. So Laura could kind of touch more on that, as she is a procurement specialist.
Yeah.
And
For the bank verification process, a cell phone number is actually not acceptable.
oh,
It
sorry.
has to be- Yeah, it has to be a phone number that is publicly listed and connected to your company. They will do a search, and they will search not only corporate documents, but online documents. Maybe it's your website, could be a filing that you had for your documents, but it has to be a publicly listed number, yellow pages, anything like that, publicly listed. That's how they're gonna verify your banking information.
I'm not sure if you guys heard that online, but I'm sorry, there is no cell phone numbers. It has to be a public listed company phone number, okay? So if you don't have that on Google, if you don't have it on white pages, whatever it is, you need to work on that. Okay, especially if you want to do business with the town, as obviously that's a requirement for the bank
If you want to.
verification, at least specifically for ACH payments, which is what everyone kind of prefers nowadays. Any questions in regards to common mistakes? Okay, great. So as we're coming here to the end, there's some terms to know that I kind of want to educate you on. I touched on earlier what preference, local preference. So there is a Davie local preference, and then there is a Broward County local preference. So obviously, if you have one or the other, that kind of is an advantage for you in certain circumstances. So let's say that two vendors have submitted a bid that are 5% within each other. We have the ability to contact you and that other vendor, and you guys are able to kind of propose a better price, or you could just say, hey, that's the best price I could do. So that's only if you and the other vendor are like 5% within each other. And when it comes to Broward County vendor, as you can see there, it's 2.5. So that's definitely something to look forward to or look out for if you are located in one of those two areas. Is anyone here located in Davie? Or you said you have an office here? So the next thing, which is fairly important, is piggybacking. Is anyone here familiar with what piggybacking is? Yeah, what's your input on it? What do you think it is exactly?
It's So I use Omni, it's a great tool to kind of make sure it's a publicly worded document and it's been bid out. That's kind of my 5 second shit on it.
Yes. So piggybacking is when there is another agency out there that has a contract, for example, like lawn maintenance. Maybe the city of Sunrise has a contract for lawn maintenance, and instead of us going through the whole process of bidding out, we could actually utilize another agency's contract. So that's what it means to piggyback off of another agency. Typically, the departments kind of go this route to avoid all the additional steps in the procurement phase. There's still some steps that have to be completed with procurement, but it's obviously not as lengthy compared to putting out a solicitation. So as per the example I just gave you, keep in mind, we could be putting out a bid for office supplies and we offer office supplies. And then you said power washing, we're putting out power washing. City of Plantation, they're like, oh, wow, look, you know, Davie's doing power washing, we could piggyback that contract. So any agency could piggyback that contract. So again, that's kind of an advantage for you when it comes to having a contract with the town or any other agency, is that you have the potential to get business with other agencies. So keep that in mind. And also when you try to present yourself, that is another advantage, because if you meet someone from the city of Sunrise, you say, hey, yeah, I actually have a contract with Davie. They're like, oh, wow, okay. Well, like I said, piggybacking is easier process. So they're like, man, we're gonna deal with this vendor, you know, rather than doing our full process. Does that make sense? Yes?
So basically, you don't have to go through the formal process to do the RFP. And
Well, the lead agency does do a competitive bidding process. That's the only way that we could piggyback. It has to be competitively and sealed. So just because they did it already, we don't necessarily have to do that again. So that's why we eliminate time. And, you know, since they already did the administrative review, they already vetted the company and everything, we just get the vendor's information, their COI, and some additional information, and then we can utilize that company without going through OpenGov, publishing it, and so forth. So piggybacking is definitely an advantage for any company. If you would like to read more about it, I did add that website there, which is nigp.org. I know I was speaking with Stephen earlier that once a year, the NIGP, which is National Institute of Government Procurement, they actually host a reverse trade show. So it's a vendor reverse trade show. Definitely recommend to look out for that, which, as I mentioned, is once a year. All the agencies show up, which include ourselves, City of Sunrise, Plantation. I think this past year was like over 20 different municipalities there, and you could actually meet them and provide your services to them. So again, check out that website, not only for that information, but to learn more about the piggybacking information as well. Any questions in regards to piggybacking? Great, so cooperative purchase. So this is kind of similar, but this is more if the bid has to go out specifically as a cooperative project. So this means that any agency within the co-op group could utilize it. So this is more specific to a group, which is, I believe, here in the Southeast Florida region. So for example, right now I'm doing a bid for power washing, and I'm actually going to be publishing it within the next day or two. And I was advised to put that out as a cooperative bid, meaning that anyone from our group could utilize that contract, such as fairly similar as a piggyback process. So I'm kind of doing it on behalf of the group, because this is a common thing that everyone could need. This might also be for office supplies. This might also be for air conditioning, because as we know, the air conditioning, I believe, was a co-op contract, or I don't recall exactly, but I know we piggybacked that contract. So keep an eye out for co-ops, because again, that means, hey, if I get this co-op contract, I will most likely have business not only with that lead agency, which is Davie, but that means Sunrise could call me, that means Plantation could call me, that means Cooper City could call me. So these are definitely key terms to look out for. Right over to the right, I included a brief summary here on what the cooperative group is. So it's a Southeast Florida Government Purchasing Cooperative Group. So we are part of this group, and it does have about 45 different agencies, which a few have, as I mentioned, so there are local agencies here, including Lauderhill, including Sunny Isles, and so forth. So we're all an agency. We actually meet quarterly, and we talk about co-op projects. Like, honestly, if someone will go there and say, hey, you know, I need a contract for janitorial services. Is anybody going to do that contract? Not, we might take the lead on it, so we could all use that contract. So just to give you an idea what it means for a cooperative group here. So again, that means that everyone within the group, they have the opportunity to utilize that contract, and the lead agency kind of does that for everyone. Any questions in regards to what we have discussed here on this slide? So that pretty much concludes our meeting for today. I wanted to show you here, again, how to get to our procurement homepage. That is the web address, and you could simply go or get there by the town website and how I showed you earlier under procurement. We do also have our general procurement email that you guys could contact us in case you're not sure who's the direct point of contact. But in the procurement homepage, you can see all of our team right here and also the departments that they manage. So that pretty much concludes our meeting for today. Unless anyone has any questions, and just to put out there, we are only open Monday through Thursday. So in case you guys need to contact us for any reason, it might be best to reach out by email if it's like a Friday or something. So that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions at this time? No questions? No. Okay, well, I hope this was very informative.
Thank you very much.
Of course. I hope you guys all learned something. Feel more than free to reach out to me or anyone if you want to touch back on anything. If there was some questions that you might think of later, go ahead and send it to us and we'll try to guide you in the right direction. So that concludes our meeting. Thank you so much, everyone. And again, as I mentioned earlier, we are working on putting a presentation together for vendors who currently do, or what happens after you're awarded a contract. So be on the lookout for that. Be very educational and helpful as well. Thank you.
Thank you.